मैं जानता हूँ कि तुम जानती हो. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the second edition of my community talk show. My second guest this evening is Raja Ashiq Khan, good learned friend of mine from the Alum Business Traders Association. Without further ado, I'll introduce you to Ashiq Saab and we'll have our conversation. Bhai Saab, welcome to my show. My program goes out in English, Pahari, bit of mixture. So as the acting chairperson of the Alum Trading Association, we would like your views from the business community of current affairs from especially the Alum area.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Thank you very much for asking me to come in today. The reason I've come today is because of my concerns, not just as acting chair of the Alum Traders Association, but also a community person who lives within this area. In the past few days, there's been quite a few burglaries and attempted burglaries within our area, and that prompted me to actually come on the radio and speak to the community and see how we can actually come together to rid this kind of nuisance which is affecting our community. Also, the other issue that I want to discuss with yourself and discuss with the community is that we, as Alum Rock community, people come here from all over the country. Unfortunately, yes, we are charitable people. We provide charity. We give to the needy. And unfortunately, on Alum Rock Road, at this present moment, there's a continuous influx of beggars. And from experience-wise from other areas, it's now becoming an issue in Alum Rock the way it is on Soho Road. Soho Road traders are frustrated, who are losing their businesses because of the beggars which came onto Soho Road, and now it's turned into what we call a red light area.
Okay.
I'm very, very concerned about that, and I think we need to, get the organizations who are a party to this to get involved a bit more, and also the community to get involved in this. I'm not somebody who will say to you, don't give to a person in need. Alhamdulillah, people who know me, they know I do charity work, but if it's going to blight the area and cause issues for the community, then I think we need to stand against it.
Faisab, you mentioned a couple of points there. First, obviously, a serious concern about burglaries in the area. What have we done with regards to notifying the local authority, the police, to do something about it? What's their opinion?
I have been in touch with the local councillors who have now assured me that they will be holding a public meeting very soon. They're trying to get in touch with the actual the police and get a time off from them,
okay,
so we can actually hold a public meeting, because this menace doesn't just affect people who get burgled, but everybody around them. And unfortunately, in this community, we tend to stay quiet and accept it. We see as a taboo that we've been burgled, but we shouldn't. I think the recent conversation that we had with the police was that there's only been 7 burglaries which have been reported, and I'm sure there's more than that. And if there has, then we should come out and report these, though at least we can get the statistics, so the police can then look at it and direct resources to this.
And also, from a community's point of view, we want the residents to come forward. If there's going to be a public meeting, and it's only me and you sitting there, there's no point.
That's right.
Yeah? So we want the community to come forward. We want the community to engage with the statutory services and air their concerns.
That's right, definitely. And part of me being here is to air this, and people who are listening to us today, to say to them, look, we are one community. Until we come out and speak out, we will be basically made scapegoats, in a sense where we'll have burglaries, we'll have this area becoming a red light area, and we know the issues with drugs and everything else that we have here. But as a community, we need to come out and speak our mind. Don't be afraid that when you go into a public meeting, you can't speak your mind. Please speak your mind. What's there. Let people know that we're not going to stand for this. And we need support in this. When the statutory services which are there, they need to support us on, stopping this kind of menaces.
Mashallah, we're known to be vocal in these meetings, but obviously we want other people to get involved. With regards to the second point that you raised about the organised bigging, I know you, mashallah, from years. You've done charitable work. You've gone out to Pakistan. You've given to aid to various projects, what have you. So there's no issues of concern there. And I know you, as a business, you still do voluntary charity stuff. Why have we got a large influx of beggars in Alum then?
I think it's our heritage in the sense that where people see us that we are giving people. And because of that, with our religion, alhamdulillah, we are charitable people and we will support people who are in need. But supporting people who are in need, it's all well and good. But people who are, they're organized beggars, that's what we need to stop. Organized beggars don't sit outside all day. The needy don't sit outside all day. They will ask for support, but they won't, put their hand out. But unfortunately, with this here, this is to do with more with drugs, and which is now, as I say, is causing. And I've had reports that slowly, there is some areas which are now being, I'd use a strong word, being used for prostitution. And that's what we need to stop, because obviously people know from time with regards to the red light areas how once they're blighted with this kind of issues, what happens within the areas.
So, Baisab, you're familiar with what happened in the early 80s, early 90s with Bosalif and how that was cleared up. It wasn't the statutory services who did that. They did support it, but the main clearance was the community. The community said, enough is enough. We need to move on. And I think that's what you said. Community advocates and the community needs to wake up, especially with what's going on with regards to Alum Rock. But, the other issue we've got in Alum Rock is about volume of traffic and parking. What's your opinion on that with that?
Has the Traders Association, we are now in contact with Birmingham City Council, trying to source somewhere where people can park, especially on the weekends. So that's an ongoing thing that we're looking at. We're concerned about the HS2 closing, and I'm sure you know a few weeks back when the Saltley Viaduct was closed, the issues that we had. And that will close again, and it will close for a length of time.
Well, they're talking about 18 to 24 months. So that's right. Going to have a massive dent on your business.
Yeah.
Well, what are the traders thinking about it?
As I says, we are in contact with the statutory services and the organisations which are involved, and trying to sort out how we can actually, help the traders. But I think today it was more my concern within as a community member who's lived most of his life in Alum Rock.
Yeah, you spent all your life here.
I grew up here. I lived here. I love Alum Rock. I do not want to leave Alum Rock. But unfortunately, as you mentioned before, years and years ago when Balsley Heath, when properties, you could go into a road and you can buy a property for £500, £1,000, because the area was blighted as a red light area. And that's what we do not want as part of as a community. And rightly, as you said, we need to come out as a community and raise our voice in the right way and the right channels.
So, what is our main key message to our statutory service providers? Because the community has been, from what I gather, the community has been asking for support, asking for ward meetings, but nothing's happened, especially in Alum.
I think obviously when I spoke to the actual local councillors here, I will be trying to speak to the local MP and trying to get him to attend the actual meeting as well. Hopefully that will happen. The public, as you rightly said, when we go into public meetings, we do have our say, but sometimes in the wrong way. Okay, we need to structure it, and we need to structure to make sure that Alum Rock is not left behind. I'll give you another prime example. Every other week, when you put the bins out, one is left.
Yeah.
For the following week. That would not happen if it was in Solihull or in Sutton Coldfield or in Selly Oak or Shirley. This would not happen, but it happens in Alum Rock because as a community we will shout, okay, but not in a structured way. And that's what I'm trying to say is let's have these public meetings, get our concerns over in a structured way, and make sure that we say to the organisers and the statutory services that we want results. We don't want to, you sit here and promises, we want results.
And also, you mentioned the likes of Solihull, Sutton Coldfield. When you look at the demographic profile, when you've got a densely populated area as Alum Rock, one size doesn't fit every ward in the city. And we'd be calling out for additional services in inner city wards, and that's fallen on deaf ears. What's your comment on that?
Well, I don't want to get political on this, on that
Sorry.
point, being honest with you, because it's not a political thing. But obviously, we have got, the Alum Rock community have chosen members who are in the council who can raise those voices. But yes, we can, we can ask them again and again and again. That's all we can do. But I think as a community, if we stood up, वो कहते हैं ना कि इनकलाब के लिए एक ही बंदा चाहिए ठीक है ना तो इंशाल्लाह हम तो एक कम्युनिटी हैं असा सारे इत्थे ही इकट्ठे रहे एक दूसरे नाल समझ एक दूसरे की जानने हैं सब इकट्ठे हैं तो असा इंशाल्लाह जो बाहर अगर निकलाऊं उस एक आवाज है ना तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह सारे काम सही हो जाते
जिस तरह तुसां गल कीती भाई साहब ये जेह्ड़ी कंसर्न है ये तुसां दी कंसर्न नहीं माड़ी कंसर्न नहीं एक कम्युनिटी नहीं कंसर्न है तो असां इस बारे ये जो प्रोग्राम जड़े हैं रेडियो आपके आवाज़ जो है कम्युनिटी वास्ते कम करी रही है कि हाईलाइट करी रही है कि केड़ियां इश्यूज जड़ियां ना कम्युनिटी वास्ते ज़रूरत नहीं किस्म की ज़रूरत है anyway okay it'd be okay if I have them नहीं किस्म necessity है ना आसानी community with this somebody sa highlight करी रही है अच्छा viewers and listeners we're having a discussion in English and Pahari bit of Urdu and the whole purpose of this session of the program is to make sure that we get the message out not to the few but the masses and we want all of you to comment on our live feed on our Facebook page, and I will read those out to my guest Raja Ashiq Khan. Right, so we mentioned in the beginning about the increase of burglaries in the area. There's a high bit of activity that's happening. What else can we do to gather the evidence to pass on to the police?
I think even where I'm sure everybody now these days either got a CCTV camera on the properties or they've got the bells now which record anybody who comes to the property. Let's pass that information on to the police. But we need to make sure, God forbid, if anything happens, let's report it. And because when the police say to me, well, there's only been 7 burglaries in Alum Rock, 7 is one too many.
Well, 7 is one too many, but
yeah, exactly.
there is some evidence going around on social media that there's a lot more. And yet they're not giving us the data.
That's right. And obviously when these are reported, the statistics will be there, then they've got no choice but to, push resources towards getting rid of this menace. I mean, Radio Aap Ki Awaaz, that's doing a great job.
Thank you.
And always, alhamdulillah, you've always worked for the community need. I'm not blowing my own trumpet. This is my community. I've lived here all my life, as I said before. And I would ask again and again to my elders, my youngest brothers, my sisters, please, let's save our community, save our children. Let's now come out as one voice. I'm not into politics. I don't want to be a politician, alhamdulillah. But as a community member, I want to support. I've always supported my community and I always will, inshallah. Again, we will let you know through yourselves, when these public meetings are arranged with the police and with the statutory services in regards to the council. And please come on board, be there, let's have a structured meeting with them and make sure that we get results from them, not just words.
Well, mashallah, we're very privileged with Radio Aap Ki Awaaz because our director here, Mirza, always gives us an opportunity to even cancel some of the scheduled programs to bring in these special programs. So mashallah, we're more than welcome to lead up to these dates. If we can have a couple of dates, we can promote it, because we would like as many people there. And even if it comes that we engage ourselves as Radio Aap Ki Awaaz, we will conduct the meetings, and we will put a place of order to say that, look, the purpose of this is for the community, but look, let's all sit down, have a structured discussion. There's no point me getting hot-headed about something, because that way we're not getting anywhere.
That's right.
Right? So we want an action point, and if we pull in the statutory services, whether we pull in environmental health, environmental services, the police, the fire services, we ask them at a round the table discussion, give them a few action points and say, right, we would like you to go away, and within your remit, we'd like some results. What else can we ask for?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, a few years back, before the COVID happened, alhamdulillah, working with the fire service, we provided smoke alarms.
I remember.
To about 8,000 properties.
Yeah, I remember.
We also done some events at schools, showing what a drop of water can do in a burning chip pan. Okay. And whilst we were doing these, trying to get these smoke alarms fitted free of charge in people's houses, there was some comments being made in regards to the cameras in there. No, please don't see as that. See as that this was a prevention. So if you can hear a fire alarm going, at least it will save lives. And that's what we were trying to achieve. And alhamdulillah, we achieved it, 8,000.
Mashallah,
in a year. That was a lot of smoke alarms.
I remember giving up some time on a weekend and going round with the officers from West Midlands Fire Service, because as soon as they knocked on the door and they asked the question, would you like one fitted? No, thank you, was the response. So I went round with them and I said, look, I'm coming on here. There's not going to be any charge. There's no CCTV in it, and this is the purpose. This is what it does. And at the end of the day, it's a free service. But gosh, that was well over 10 years ago now. But that was a massive achievement. And the whole idea for that initiative was because we had a large amount of fires in our area, and we wanted to educate the community, and we wanted to offer that free service. And we got local authority support, and the local authority purchased the smoke alarms, gave them to the fire service. So these things can be done with a partnership with the residents, the statutory service, but we need to get everybody around the table first.
Yeah. I think you mentioned earlier on, when we have these meetings, we can sometimes become very hot-headed. And when you become hot-headed, you lose that importance of what you're trying to achieve.
Like I said, I can't speak for anybody else, but I know I lose my rag, because I know I can give enough evidence, I lose my rag and say, come on, I want action. What else do you want me to say? So, I know, because if you are constantly affected that you pay your council tax and your dustbin, your bin's not collected every week, or your recycling's not collected every fortnight, then there's so many emails and there's so many local authority websites that you can put that information on, and if it's happening frequently, there's some issue. So somebody should look at that issue and say, right, let's put some statutory services in and do something about it. So I totally agree with that. But like I said, mashallah, we want to move forward, and if it means that the Radio Aap Ki Awaaz will host that, we'll gladly do it. And we will put the meeting to order, and we will make sure from the outset of the meeting we set the agenda, we set the parameters of the meeting, but we want a positive reaction. So we want the statutory services to go away, think about it, come back to us in a fortnight's time to say, right, this is what you said, this is the action point. And that it's a two-way process, isn't it?
When you introduced me, when I came on first as acting chair of Alum Traders Association, that's my one side of what I do. Yeah. But today, for me, coming onto the radio was basically a community member who lives within the community.
Yeah, mashallah.
And my heart is with my community.
Yeah.
And I want to support, and I want, for them to support themselves. And let's come out as one voice. Let's, show that the statutory services, look, as you rightly said, we pay our council taxes. We are law-abiding people. So why can you not support us when it comes to our need? And we have to sometimes put your foot down in a sense, but in the right way.
In the right way.
In the right way. Okay. So I'm sure people know of me, and by all means, if they want to speak to me, they're welcome.
Mashallah, who doesn't know you in Alum Rock? So mashallah, you've spent all your life in Alum Rock. I remember from school to cricket, and I remember you, mashallah. You don't have to live in Alum Rock, but you spent all your life in Alum Rock. But you see, what we're saying is to people is that the fact that improvement can be done with engagement from the community.
That's right.
What I'm finding is that there are certain vocal points in the community, but when you ask them to engage, that's where it stops.
I think a role model we have to look at is Balsall Heath.
Yeah.
Balsall Heath was a blighted area. There was drugs, there was prostitution, and there was rubbish all over the place. You couldn't actually walk. Our sisters, our mothers couldn't actually walk. And at the end of the day, we do not want that happening here. But when the community got together, okay,
they
those people who were selling drugs or who were, again, I'll use the word the pimps. They had no choice but to move away from there. And if you look at Balsall Heath now, it's a model area.
Oh, mashallah! It's
absolutely beautiful, clean.
Raja Amin, who was the I think he works for the railway. And bless him, he was their spokesperson, and mashallah, he organized his troops, and they were like sitting on street corners, writing registration numbers down. These was days before the mobile phones were around. They're writing registration numbers and times and whatever, you passing that information on to the statutory services. And the community took that on board because enough is enough. And it did make an improvement in the fact that you got local authority, central government funding, and that area of Balsall Heath that we're talking about now, mashallah, you can drive past it through now. It's mashallah, lovely flourishing area, and those £100, £500 houses, they're worth like $250,000 now. And it's the same house, and it's amazing that how the area has changed, all because the community engaged with the statutory services. So these things can be done.
I mean, I'm not here to say that, look, I'll be the spokesperson. No, I'm here to wake the community up. If someone's there who can actually be please, I'll be behind you. I'm a soldier. I'll be behind you. Okay. And all I will ask is, please wake up, because before it's too late. That's all I'm trying to, get across to the community.
Really appreciate your comments this evening. Before we just wrap our program up, dear listeners, we've just gone over our time. but it's an important topic, and it was important that Raja Ashiq here in the studio gives us his concerns and what have you. We're just going to have a few minutes just to wrap it up in Pahari and Urdu, just to make sure that this message goes out to all of my listeners. And also, we want the elders to listen to this. And if they can disseminate this information down to the children, mashallah, that will make a massive difference. Because, there are times when the elderly cannot come out to meetings, and we totally appreciate that. But if they can send their children as a representative, that would make a massive achievement, because they could hear their concerns. Bhai sahab, asa apni zubaan vich thodi der kar sange. Jis tarah asa English vich gall kiti hai ke इस इलाके विच जड़ियां चोरियां ज़्यादा होई दियां इस इलाके विच बेगर्स जड़े न मंगने वाले भी ज़्यादा होई के तुसां अपनी ज़बान विच जड़ा ना थोड़ा जिहा मिकी समझ दियो कि असां जड़े बुजुर्ग ने जड़े उन्हां की असां क्या पैगाम पहुंचावे
बुजुर्गां की असां इ'यै पैगाम पहुंचाना चाहने हैं कि तुसां साडा माजी हो असां ना फ्यूचर साढ़े बच्चे ने तुसां ने बच्चे साढ़े बच्चे इक न अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मैं तकरीबन 56 साल इतना हुई है सारे बुजुर्ग जानना हमें जाहिर है यूथ नहीं इतने जानने लेकिन वो जिला कोई गल करो ना जी माड़ा चाचा है कौन है असा ये चाहने कि ठीक है अगर तुसा नो अच्छी सकने चाहने असा तुसा अच्छो लेकिन पढ़े लिखे बंदे बाहर अच्छन जेड़े यंग जनरेशन है वो अच्छन बाहर समझना वो अच्छी का साड़ी सपोर्ट कर असा उन्हें सपोर्ट कर सा ठीक है मैं इतना इस वेला तुसा कोल बैठे हैं सिर्फ और सिर्फ एज जे जड़ा एक कम्युनिटी ना माशाल्लाह ठीक है माड़ा अपना जाती इससे कोई मुफाद नहीं जी लेकिन मैं चाहना कि जो अगे असा बोलसली सी तक ने रहे या उन सोह रोड पर होना पिया क्योंकि सोह रोड उसकी शॉपिंग सेंटर एक ना तको क्योंकि उसने नाल कम्युनिटी भी रहनी है समझना आलम राग रोड की शॉपिंग सेंटर ना तको बाकी ने जितनी सड़क हैं या रोडा हैं कम्युनिटी रहनी है ठीक है असा ना जाने कि कल साड़ियां तियां पैना इतने अगर पैदल चलियां होने तो कोई उनकी आवाज दै ये नहीं हो सकना समझना लेकिन इस वास्ते मैं यही मैसेज देना चाहना बुजुर्गों की कि असा तुसा नाल ना तुसा साढ़े नाल हो असा तुसा तो बगैर ना टुरी सकने समझना असा तो चाहने कि तुसा साढ़े नाल होइगा टुरो
अच्छा जी लिसनर्स हुन जड़ा ना असा अपना प्रोग्राम खत्म करी रिया त इन समरी में इंग्लिश विच नंबर दे सा listeners for any concerns about the program today any feedback please ring our number on 07944 808 141. If you want to help in any community activities, please let us know. And when the community meetings are set up with the local councillors, statutory services, we will obviously inform you on our programs. If there are any other questions before I wrap up, please put a message and we'll gladly cover them for you. Muhtarim, thank you very much for listening into my program. Apologies, we've been talking a bit in English and a bit in Pahari, a bit in Urdu. We've not been talking in Pashto, but we're covering the main areas, concerns, or whatever you, and you're familiar with it. So we were asking your support as well, because you're a community activist as well. Please pass the message on to the community that we would like as many people to attend this community meeting. That's going to be held shortly. We'll give you the date and time and the venue shortly, as soon as it's all been arranged. And all we ask you, not to take anything in your own hands. Make sure that the local authority, the statutory services, the police, the fire brigade are informed of any concerns or issues that you may have in the area. And more importantly, be vigilant. Take down of any registration numbers, of any undesirable characters. Do not approach any of these beggars in the streets, and the community of Alum Rock is very, very hospitable and charitable. Bhai Sahab, say a few words.
Last thing I would like to say, again, going back to what we said with regards to the beggars, we are a charitable community. We like to give, but these people don't deserve it because they do actually get paid by the government.
Okay.
And if they were talking about food, buy them food. But don't give them money, because that is what is being used for drugs, and after that, what becomes of them then become into prostitution.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. You wrapped it up nicely for me. That's the end of my program. Until next week, take care, look after yourself, and Khada Hafiz.